Mark Thiessen is a columnist for the Washington Post and a fellow at the American Enterprise Institute and a Fox News contributor. Mark, good morning to you, first of all.
Good morning, Martha.
And, we just heard from Ed about the difficulty within the Clinton campaign on all of this stuff. But, when you look at some of these numbers, and let's pull up this first one, in terms of Democrats and her competition within her own party, Mark, 61% think this email scandal thing is not important. 21% think it is just somewhat important. So on the Democratic side, they're shrugging this off.
Yeah, they're going to think it's very important if she or one of her aides is indicted. I mean, there's an FBI investigation going on, which is why the Democrats are so desperately panicking and looking for an alternative to Hillary Clinton. So the voters might not think it's very important yet, but independent voters think it's very important, and Republican and Democratic strategists and people in the party's hierarchy think it's really important. And that's why she's been desperately trying to change the subject from her emails. I mean, last week she compared Republicans to terrorists. Then she compared them to Nazis, saying they want to put people in boxcars and send them off. I mean, this reeks of desperation, and it worked for a couple of days. We spent the weekend talking about her comments, but here we are on Monday. The State Department's releasing a new tranche of emails. We're going to be talking about emails. We're going to be talking about emails on Thursday when her aides testify, and they're going to keep testifying. They're going to keep releasing emails, and this thing is not going away.
And the other underlying factor in all this is that it's up support, obviously, for the other potential people who could take over the mantle if Hillary Clinton proves to be unable to do so. And we just showed a moment ago Bernie Sanders in very good shape in Iowa. This is a very large margin of error on this poll, and he's just outside of that at 30%. He's had a huge move. What do you make of that, Mark?
That is huge and very troubling for Mrs. Clinton. So to put it in perspective, in this Iowa poll, the last Iowa poll, she was up 57-16.
Yeah.
It's now 37-30. That is a huge drop in her support and a huge increase for Bernie Sanders. And then in New Hampshire, the last two polls, the Boston Herald and the PPP poll just came out. The last two polls have Bernie Sanders with a 7-point lead in New Hampshire. She was up 25 points a while ago. Now she's losing New Hampshire. If she loses Iowa and New Hampshire to Bernie Sanders, she's not going to be the Democratic nominee.
But it's a long way away. And here's another person who's watching this whole thing very, very closely. Let's play it.
I came because I'll get through this item because Bob wanted me to come. And the reason is to say thank you. Now, I mean this to say thank you.
He was talking about his son, Beau Biden, thanking Delaware voters for their support during all of this. No mention of anything other than that, really, in that, Mark. But, clearly he is testing some sort of sentiment out there, right?
Absolutely, and there's a lot of people encouraging him because, look, Hillary Clinton's campaign is in free fall. The numbers you just put up show, the fact that she's losing in New Hampshire show that her campaign is in free fall. And so the alternative right now to Hillary Clinton is Bernie Sanders, who is a self-described socialist. Democratic leaders know that they cannot win the White House with a self-described socialist. So they're desperately looking for somebody who could be even possibly a credible alternative to her. And Joe Biden seems to be really the only one who's potentially can fill that role.
Yeah, and as we said, we're going to hear later this week in the Benghazi hearings from Cheryl Mills and Jake Sullivan, but another very close associate of Hillary Clinton's is Huma Abedin. And here's what Donald Trump had to say about her, and I want to get your feelings on how this is going to go over. Let's play it.
I know Anthony Weiner for a long time. I knew before they caught him with the bing, 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 right? And he was a bad guy then. It turned out that he was a really bad guy. So she's married to Anthony Weiner. Do you think there's even a 5% chance that she's not telling Anthony Weiner, now of a public relations firm, what the hell is coming across? Do you think there's even a little bit of a chance? I don't think so.
What do you make of that?
Well, the issue is not so much what Huma Abedin told Anthony Weiner. It's what Huma Abedin and other Hillary Clinton aides might have told Russia and China, because they were sending classified information to her in an unclassified private email server. And we just learned a few weeks ago that foreign intelligence services had hacked into the private emails of top Obama White House officials. If they targeted and got into Hillary Clinton's private email and there was classified information there, that takes this whole thing to another level. level. And so really what she should be worried about is not Anthony Weiner, is she should be worried about whether foreign intelligence services were able to access classified information on her private server, because that would be a very, very serious matter.
Mark, thank you very much.